Hey guys, James from Tech Lens again, bringing you another video, and today I want to talk to you about UPSs or uninterruptible power supplies. Coming from England, we had a power cut once every 5 years. It was incredibly rare, so I never really used a UPS. Now that I live in America, I seem to get a power cut once every month to 2 months. That's bad. The reasons why it's bad is because if your computer is mid-operation doing something, writing to the registry, and it cuts power, it could really up your operating system. So that scares me, and I ended up buying a UPS from CyberPower. This UPS, the CyberPower CP1000AVRLCD. The product line is well rated on Amazon. It's 4 stars and 4,500 reviews. The dimensions are 3.9 inches wide, 9 inches tall, 10.2 inches deep. The unit has a maximum capacity of 1000 volt amps or 600 watts. Data line protection, which prevents power surges that travel through the telephone, coaxial and Ethernet lines from causing damage to electronics. The waveform is simulated sine wave, which is not as good as pure sine wave, but will be fine for well-filtered and well-regulated power supplies found on most computers and electronics. It has automatic voltage regulation, which provides clean, consistent AC power by automatically regulating low voltages and over voltages when wall power has minor fluctuations. Comes with a 3-year warranty. The topology is line interactive, which means that it will pass through AC power, correcting minor power fluctuations and charge itself until the UPS needs to switch to battery mode during a power outage. This is better for battery longevity. The management software for this unit is Power Panel Personal, though I've been told by CyberPower that Power Panel Business is free and can be used with this unit. This may be important to you depending on how you set up your UPS. More on that later. You don't get remote management. It's Energy Star qualified and has a $350,000 connected equipment guarantee. This means that if anything was to break because of the UPS, then you're covered up to that amount. I'll show you how to calculate your wattage in a bit, but CyberPower provide a handy runtime estimate on their website and should give you an indication as to how long you can survive on battery. Your communication ports to your computer are USB and serial. There are 9 outlets on the back, 4 surge protected, 5 surge protected with battery backup. Plug into these if you want the device to remain on during a power outage. But is 600 watts enough for you? Let me show you how to find this out for yourself. There's a couple different ways that you can measure for a computer setup how much wattage you actually need on a UPS. Number one is you do a power supply calculator online, and what that'll allow you to do is plug in your components onto their web application, and then it will give you an estimate of how much wattage you're actually going to be taking up. The better way of doing it is putting your system under load and manually taking the wattage amount from your power socket. I don't have the tools to do that, so we'll be using the power supply calculator. They overestimate a bit, so that's to our benefit because you want to be overestimating on something like this instead of underestimating, because bad things happen. You'll exceed the wattage that this can supply. The other option is using an Ohm's law calculator, because if you're plugging in a router or a modem, then you won't really be able to calculate the wattage unless you have a look at the power supply that it uses, and it will tell you how many volts it's going to be taking and how many amps it's going to be taking, and that's under max load. So with volts and amps, we can calculate watts, so that's quite handy. So the process for those is we'll go through the power supply calculator. So enter all of your components into the web application. When you're finished, hit calculate and it will display an estimate of your maximum power consumption. And now we'll go through the wattage calculator. All that you need to do for this one is enter the volts and the amps listed on the power supply, click calculate and add this to the list of other devices you are connecting to the UPS. So now you've figured out how many watts you need. This unit should be very similar to ones with different wattages from CyberPower, sorry. Check it out on the Amazon link below and we'll crack this open and have a look through it. Well, that's a cute little unit. All right, so what do we get? We've got a USB 2.0 type A to type B. I'll show you that. Oh, I really hope that's not too loud on the microphone. Sorry if it is. Right, so we've got a USB 2.0, type A to type B. And then we've got the actual UPS itself. So, observations, it's heavy. Heavy is typically a reassuring sign right here. So, on the back, USB 2.0 type B, we've got the serial port, we've got the, is that Ethernet? Ethernet / ADSL, coax in and out, and then we've got the actual power plugs, power ports, however you want to call it, as well as a reset switch right there. And then the actual power cable for it is integrated. So we've got surge protection down the right, and then surge and battery down the left. I'm actually struggling to hold that with one hand. So, oh, this way. Hopefully that will give you a better look at it. There we go. So the unit on the front, as we see here, display button, mute button, select and enter above it. I guess it's multi-function buttons. Oh, I should have done a sexy peel, sorry. Power button, 1000 VA, AVR, CyberPower. There we go. Do you hear that? That's not reassuring. If I die, maybe my wife can upload this to YouTube. So the idea behind this is, this should connect to your computer. And then essentially when it figures out that the power has been dropped, which hopefully should be instantaneous, when it drops, it will send a signal to your computer to go basically, hey, shut down, you're gonna die unless you shut down. Power's just gonna go out. So, and this should have enough juice to allow it to do that. I mean, if you're filling the capacity of this, maybe like 500-600 watts, I wouldn't ever fill the capacity of a UPS. You do want to have a bit of a buffer just to make sure that you're not exceeding anything. You're gonna have a few minutes. When power goes out, it's, a few minutes. Maybe if you're running like low power consumption stuff, maybe a router and a modem, you're gonna have longer because you're pulling less power. That's kind of how it works. So, let's plug it in. All right, so I've just plugged it in. I'll try and huddle down so I can get next to it and you can see me in the frame. All right, so plugged it in. Press the button. There we go. So when you turn it on, what you get is input voltage, input hertz, output voltage, output hertz. You've got your kilowatts, you've got your amps, you've got your kilowatt percentage, amps percentage, and percentage of battery, I assume. And the estimated time that it has left. I've got like 603 minutes. That's nice. I have nothing plugged into it, so it should be pretty high. All right, I guess the next thing to do is to plug it in and test to see if it works. So let's do that. So now we're firing it up. So far so good. I guess it's just passing through power at the moment, so it's not really an issue. Two different ways that this will work. Theoretically, if I cut the power now, it should still survive because it will just immediately switch to battery power and the computer will stay active. The second way, or the more advanced way that we can set this up, is install the management software so that when it does kill the power, the computer will know to automatically shut down. Without that software, the computer's going to be dumb. You can't expect it to know. It just thinks, oh great, I've got power, until the battery runs out. So let's do that. Let's kill the power. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see. This is just a test, by the way. The only thing going to this is my monitor that's allowing me to see what you guys see whilst I'm recording it. So in theory, when I pull this, everything should be fine. So 3, 2, 2, 1. There we go. So you'll see on screen, I'll read it out to you. So it's originally going berserk. It doesn't know how many minutes it left. 600, 95, 98, 100, 200, 600. So it works. It does what it's meant to do, which is good. I mean, it's just over $100, so. Link in the description. It's quite inexpensive for UPSs, to be honest. And then when you plug it back in, there we go. Job done. So that was test number 1. What we'll do is we'll set up the management software and we'll configure it so that it will tell itself to shut down. And then we'll do the test again and hopefully see that in action. So navigating to CyberPower's Power Panel website is really easy. Download and install. And the Power Panel Personal is actually really interesting. It's a really good tool, very nicely designed from a product perspective. So what I'll do is I'll go through the screens with you and give you a small explanation of what they do. The current status, of course, gives you live readouts of what's happening with the UPS at that moment. The summary screen highlights noteworthy events such as power outages and overvoltages. You can create energy reports. Within the settings tab is where the bulk of the functionality is. Under schedule, we can define when to turn connected devices on and off. Notifications allow us to be alerted when there's a power outage. Runtime is probably one of the most important settings. Keep computer running. This allows us to specify an amount of minutes left in the UPS battery power before it then sends a signal to the computer to tell it to shut down. We can use this to extend computer usage after a power outage. Preserve battery power allows us to specify a time in minutes before sending the shutdown command to the computer, typically used to shut down your computer quickly after a power outage. Really important note here is that Power Panel Personal 2.1.9, the current version as of time of filming this, has a bug where preserve battery power never sends a shutdown command to the computer. I called CyberPower and it's a bug that they're aware of, and they recommended that you use Power Panel Business if you want this functionality, and hopefully it will be fixed in a later revision of the software. Voltage allows us to set the minimum and maximum voltage before the UPS intervenes. Self-test is a health-based test for your UPS. And advanced allows us to change input voltage sensitivity and shutdown type. If you're unsure which input voltage sensitivity to choose, I would leave it on medium, and the information tab on the end has exactly what you would expect in it. So let me show you what Power Panel Personal looks like when you disconnect power to the UPS. Now, this is the point where we test the UPS's functionality of automatically shutting down the computer at a specified time. I've set this up to be 10 minutes before the UPS runs out of battery by defining keep computer running and setting that for 10 minutes in the runtime configuration settings of Power Panel Personal. This is the final notification stating that your computer will shut down immediately. The shutdown process takes about a minute. Previous tests did shut down more gracefully than this one. As you can see, there is no content showing on the CyberPower Power Panel, and both it and Chrome appear to be glitching, for lack of a better word. Nevertheless, patience is a virtue and we get a semi-graceful shutdown. I also wanted to show you what this looked like from the UPS's perspective and what was showing on its LCD screen during this shutdown. As I mentioned before, other tests of this did shut down more gracefully. Now that it's fully shut down, we can plug it back in. And it counts down from 60. And we can see that it's now providing power again. So, conclusion time. What do I think of the CyberPower CP1000AVRLCD? Good unit. Actually, I would definitely recommend it. It's annoying with the runtime configuration. What is it? Preserve battery power. The fact that that doesn't work at the moment. Bear in mind this is only for version 2.1.9 of the Power Panel Personal. Hopefully in a later revision that should be updated, but I'd leave that to you to stay up to date on that one. Yeah, if you're looking at one of these, I'd really consider it. It does exactly what I need it to do, and I'm very happy. Other than that, give me a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and a thumbs down if you didn't. Consider subscribing if you really enjoyed the content and want to see some more stuff from me. Check the links in the description for social media, websites, everything, and guys, I'll see you later.